Good morning, everybody. It's a lovely fall day. We've been having quite an Indian summer in New Hampshire lately. It's been in the 70s in early November. But anyways, I am at Arms Park in Manchester, and this was once the location of the Arms textile mill. And this mill used to make linings for coats for men's jackets back in the day. And there was once an anthrax scare here where multiple people died during the 50s. So over time they kept having issues with anthrax, so this place ended up getting demolished in, I believe, the early 70s. I'm gonna post some pictures right now just to show you what it used to look like. But also, while I'm at Arms Park, this place just got revamped, and they had an artist come here and paint all this stonework. So I want to film it before it gets covered in graffiti, which will happen at some point. But when you're on the interstate over here and you're looking at it, it's really cool looking from a distance. This wasn't done too long ago, so it's still kind of fresh looking and bright. I'd love to get involved with stuff like this. I don't know why I don't try to do it, because I could. But right now I'm going to head up on this bridge so I can get an aerial view, because I found a picture that shows the destruction of the Arms Mill, which happened in the 70s. So I'm going to head up here right now. And also, before I walk up here to get up on the bridge, this rock wall here is the remnants of the canal that used to run up and down Commercial Street. So if you would have been here 100 years ago, I would have been standing in water right now. So let's head on up, Tux. I brought the little guy today. I haven't walked this in years, many years. The only problem is I'm gonna have to go to the other bridge over there to get the aerial footage that I'm looking for. I wanted to do this video last week when the foliage was still, bright and orange. Yeah, there's been homeless people hanging out here, that's for sure. They've been salvaging copper out of this conduit, and I just saw some heroin needles. And some cheap Dr. Nilkuki's liquor. Some menthol. So this little staircase here is actually a homeless hangout, which I never knew. Yeah, more needle marks. Proof of needles, anyway. But I'm gonna edit this here because I have to walk down here and then to the other side of the bridge. And right about here, we should get a good perspective of a before and after, as I'm gonna show you the photo in a moment. But the mill was destroyed in the early 70s, and as it was being destroyed, they heavily quarantined it and put a ton of chemicals on it to try to eradicate the anthrax. But supposedly there's still anthrax buried underneath this pavement, as anthrax can live for quite a long time. Hence why this park has a nickname of Anthrax Park. I'm gonna head over to the west side. I originally wasn't going to walk this way, but there's a little bit of history in this area. And it's also crazy that I just came across all the remnants of that homeless camp and all those needles and whatnot. It just goes to show that every time I go off the beaten path, I find remnants of junkies. It's really sad to see what this country's turning into. It really is. Also, as I'm walking across this bridge, I almost forgot, but there used to be an old bridge here called the Notre Dame Bridge, and it was a beautiful green archway bridge. I believe it got torn down in the late 80s or very early 90s. But those are the footings of the old bridge that was here. And while I'm here, I'll get some footage of the beautiful Merrimack River. And you can see the pylons of some of the older bridges that used to be here, as well as some of the old drains that probably ran off the arms mill that came out of here. My camera's having trouble focusing between the grates here. But the old Notre Dame Bridge was kind of sketchy driving across it because you could see right through it. It wasn't paved. It looked like a sewer grate. So as you were driving over it, you could hear it rattling and shaking. So it was kind of neat. I've actually walked across it as a child, and it was kind of neat because you'd look down and this is what it would look like. It would look like you were looking through this fence. But anyway, I thought I'd share that. And here's the Notre Dame Bridge. Also, right here is what they used to call Sandy Beach. And before this interstate was built, there used to actually be mills where the interstate is. And people used to actually swim in this river and they'd hang out on this beach. But because of the interstate, you can no longer obviously hang out on the beach. Sorry for all the over editing, but I just noticed that there's an old piece of concrete here. And there's an old piece of wrought iron, mill area metal attached to it. So that was probably the remnants of one of the bridges that used to be here. I just thought I'd document that. And I was just saying, this interstate once had a row of mills running all along this area, probably at least a quarter-mile long. And if you can see through this vegetation, there's a remnant. You can see the remnants of, an old rock wall here. My camera probably can't pick it up, but I assure you it's there. And this here is a prime example of how quality of modern construction is absolute garbage. This mill was turned into apartments, I don't know, I'll say 15 or 20 years ago. But this wrought iron fence is somewhat modern versus the one across the street, which is original. And this one does not have any rust on it. Wow, this one's already rotting away and it's only been about 20 years. And right here, there's some very unknown and forgotten about history, unless you were around during the 60s. But there used to be a neighborhood here, as well as a small business district that used to consist of multiple stores. And I believe it was torn down in the early 70s, if I recall. And also the St. Mary's Bank, which is modern, I believe it was built 5 or, I don't know, 8 years ago. But the older St. Mary's Bank was much nicer than this building. I remember walking in the atrium, there was a beautiful hand-painted mural of the Indians around the Muskeg River and whatnot. And I never understood why they replaced it with this gaudy looking thing. But anyway, I'll post the pictures of this old neighborhood. There's really not many pictures that exist of it, which is surprising. I could only find like 2 or 3, but here they are. And this is an old mill site, obviously, that's been converted into apartments and various other businesses. But my father, who was a Canadian immigrant, I believe his family migrated here in the 60s, but my dad did work in here. This was once a shoe factory. I believe it was called Preview Products when my dad worked here. And it was built in 1891. And believe it or not, I've been in this building when the mills were operating, so I did see the machines working, which was kind of neat. And I do remember it vividly because it's one of those things that you'll never forget. I was probably 5 or 6 when I went in here. And I believe I went into this entrance, if I can recall. I'm not sure if all this ironwork is original, but it kind of looks like it, so it probably is. But anyway, I thought I'd just show you that. I'm still at the same mill, but I've also been in here. I don't remember why. I think there was a store or something here that may have sold antiques. But I have been inside this building as well before it was revamped into apartments. It's cool that the old loading dock is actually still here. It's obviously not functioning, but now I'm going to venture over to this older mill over here also. This one is actually still in operation. And as I was just saying how modern construction is absolute garbage, as that modern fence over there is already rotted. But this is the original fence that was built in the 1800s, so there's absolutely no rust on it. This fence probably hasn't been painted in over 40 years as well. And as you can see, the old stuff is always better than the new garbage. There's a little bit of flaking and surface rust, but it's not rotted by any means. But this mill here is actually, as far as I know, it's still in operation. I believe it's a company that makes cable wires, or at least it used to be. But this is what all the mills used to look like. You know, if you would have came here during the 80s, you see all the bricks all dirty and all the lines leaching through it. The windows are all boarded up and whatnot. But it's just a matter of time until this gets converted into apartments as well, as I highly doubt this entire mill is being used as a factory. It's highly unlikely. I'm not sure what happened here, but my guess is a car drove through here. It has to be, because there's police, there's caution flags and whatnot here. I'm trying to find the marker of when this mill was built. That's what's cool about these mills, is they all have an engraving of what year they were built. Yeah, everything was just built so much better back then. Solid as a rock. This fence will last another 200 years. It really will. Oh, the marker's up here and I cannot get a view, so we get across the street. Come on, Tuck. So this is the Coolidge mill, which was built in 1909. I don't know much about it, so I'm not gonna claim that I'm an expert about it, but it's very original, and it's just a matter of time until all these windows get replaced and this place turns into apartments. I give it another 10 years or so, if that. Again, we're still at the Coolidge mill. I just wanted to get some footage of it. And this was one of the entrances that would obviously give you access to the mill. I just want to get some footage of it before it gets remodeled. I was just looking down from the bridge, but somebody set up quite the palace down here. That's a hidden homeless camp that I never knew about. They're really everywhere. They really are. I can see another one hidden over there. Crazy world we live in, that's for sure. But even along here, there's also another line of mills. I could walk around for like 3 days just documenting all the mills that used to be in New Hampshire. It's really crazy. It really is. This place was basically China 100 years ago. And also here, because the the highway department cleared this area out for some reason, probably to keep the homeless out of here. But you can see the remnants of the old retaining wall that was here. And as I was just stating, there used to be mills up and down this road, up and down this interstate rather. And that was the edge of it right there, right where you can see that wall. I'm back at Arms Park. Does anybody know what happened here? Obviously someone died. And there's a bar right here, so I don't know if someone got shot or stabbed or OD'd or someone had a heart attack. Kind of weird. But I'm heading down Commercial Street right now, and there was an old industrial accident that I'm gonna try to line up some pictures with. And this is kind of cool. I just noticed that there's a helicopter on top of this building. It's likely Dean Kamen's, as he owns this building. And if you're unfamiliar with who Dean Kamen is, he's the inventor of the Segway, as well as many other inventions. The guy's a literal genius. But anyway, he has a landing pad on top of this building. And he has a cool house a really neat looking house in Bedford, New Hampshire, and he flies to and from work to get there with a helicopter. But anyway, I thought I'd film this. I've already filmed this in a previous video, but this is Ralph Baer, the inventor of video games, or the inventor of making children incredibly lazy. That's what I call him. So thank you, Bear. So instead of kids riding around bicycles, they're sitting on a couch right now playing video games. It's all good though. I enjoy video games myself. And right here is the location that I was just talking about an industrial accident that happened in 1891 where 3 men lost their lives. A large flywheel malfunctioned and pretty much shattered this building. It's incredible to see how powerful steam and water power were. You wouldn't think that it could do this, but as you can see in the picture I'm about to post, that it completely demolished this building. And it's funny because as soon as I saw that picture, I knew exactly where it was, because these are the only mill buildings that have these granite blocks on the corners. So it's very unique. But anyway, I thought I'd share this with you. And right here at the Stark Mills, there's some light construction going on where they're building some handicap ramps so handicapped people can have access to this area. It's changes like this that I don't mind, because it's cool to experience this area, and there's really nowhere for handicapped people to get up and down from Commercial Street to Canal Street, so adding this ramp is a cool thing. I thought I'd just document it. And here's the location of what was Jenny's gasoline station. And as you can see in the picture that I'm about to post, is that it looked a little different. There was also a really cool old looking building that was situated right about here, which is obviously long gone. But it's now Pappy's Pizza, which is a modern day landmark. They have awesome food. I don't understand why anybody would like order Domino's pizza or Papa John's or any of that crap, and you can like order a delicious pizza from a place like this and it's like the same price. But at the moment, this place is actually getting renovated as I'm filming, so I'm not sure what they're doing, but I recall the parking lot has always been really rough, so they're probably just redoing that, and I'm sure they're doing some inside work. But over here is also a very cool building. It's a Masonic temple. This building is massive. It's made out of granite and solid brick. This building here, if you were to come into the future, like 2,000 years from now, there'd still be remnants of this building. It's so well built. This thing's it's as solid as stone. That's what it is. Just a giant granite block is what this thing is. There's also an old gas station here. This looks like it dates back quite a ways. I'll try to dig up some old pictures if there's any that exist. I'm not sure though. And this here is a really cool apartment building. The way the brick, like, what's the the way the brick bevels out, it's really neat looking. It's now home to a lot of immigrants. A lot of immigrants will move into here. I think they get a lot of government help and whatnot. And here's the lovely Granite State Credit Union building. I actually did a lot of work here. Believe it or not, I actually painted the exterior of this place, I don't know, about 3 summers ago. So if you would have seen some guy out here on a boom lift about 3 summers ago, it was me. It was actually kind of a fun job. I wasn't taking any videos, but I do have some pictures that I'll dig up. There was one morning I took the boom lift and I extended it as high as I could, and I do have some pictures of it that I will post. And also here is the old location of the Uptown Tavern. Back in my drinking and partying days, there used to be a bar here. It was kind of a dive bar, but we all liked coming here because it was a real bar. It was better than like going to margaritas and stuff like that. But I believe they condemned the building and tore it down quite some time ago. I'd say at least probably 20 years ago now, 15 to 20 years ago. But it's long gone. I'll try to dig up some pictures of it. I'm sure they exist. I'm still on Elm Street, and this is kind of a unique area because it kind of still looks like it's from 1950, and it hasn't been revamped yet, but it's in the process of getting revamped. You can see like the old 1940s or 50s aluminum that's still here. Looks like an old diner. It's got that look, as well as the old Rack's billiard sign. That used to be a glowing neon sign that is obviously not working anymore. I'm not sure if the billiards are actually still here, but I have been in here, again, in my early 20s, my drinking days. I have been in here to play pool. But all these signs are very old. These are from the 50s or 60s. That's also a neon sign. This building's actually... No, this is actually still functioning. There's a dry cleaning business here. But LeMay's Jewelers is non-functioning. It was functioning, I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 years ago. And as you can see, the old neon sign is still here. It's obviously not working. But not too long ago, you could still come here and you could peer through these glass windows and see the jewelry that was being showcased here. But this is in the process of being revamped, so in a couple years, this is going to look completely different. So I thought I'd just document it. And right here on Wall Street, there was once a line of brick buildings that were various businesses that burned down in the, I believe, the late 50s, and it got replaced by this building. And I just had a 1980s flashback. I don't know how I just thought of this, but do any of you remember the old Lollipop art structure that used to be here? I'll try to dig up some pictures of it, but there used to be a kind of an art structure that used to sit right here. Again, it's one of those things that shouldn't have been removed, as it was kind of a landmark. It's right next to the Brady Sullivan building. But anyway, I'll post a picture of them if I can find them. Again, the old LeMay's Jeweler building from across the street. I just wanted to get a better angle of it. There's also some writing that says Fournier etched onto the brick. But from this angle, there's a sign here, and you can see it's going to be ready in January 2023. From the picture, it doesn't look like they're going to butcher it too bad, so they're going to keep it as original as possible, which is a good thing. I am still on Elm Street, and this was the home of Cody's Bread. This picture was dated in 1928. It would still be cool if it was here, because we could still get some fresh bread instead of buying the crap you get at the grocery store. But anyway, I thought I'd show you that. Again, I'm still on Elm Street, and this was once the location of a small grocery store as well as a dry cleaning business. It's still a corner store and it still has a retro look to it, but as you see from the pictures that I'm about to post, that it was completely different back then. But this is going to conclude the video. I've been walking around for about 3 hours with Tux and I'm on my way home. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Later.